rises, where champions emerge and redefine the game, where limits are tested and greatness is unleashed. This is when legends are born. Super League Basketball. A new dawn is here.
A new dawn rose in British hoops for the 2024-25 season as the SLB took center stage. Legends rose and rivalries were established. Every game was a battle and every moment was electric, with the fans at the heart of the story. Winners were crowned. Newcastle took the trophy in January. Sheffield lit up the cup final in March, and London climbed to the top spot in the regular season. But there is still one trophy up for grabs on the biggest stage of them all. The playoffs have been electric, epic battles, and amazing moments. The Eagles clawed the Lions in the semis, and emotions ran high. The Riders stole the dub over the Sharks in overtime, memories that will last forever. Which brings us to today, the biggest historical rivalry in British hoops, Leicester and Newcastle. Every shot matters, every point counts, and everything is earned. Two teams, one title. This is Super League Basketball, and this is the playoff final. Welcome everyone to London, the O2 Arena to be exact, as we give you the aerial view. And it's the day that everybody's been waiting for, the location that every player wants to be, the matchup the entire country has been anticipating. The Newcastle Eagles versus the Leicester Riders. And if this is anything we've seen over the course of the season, you are in store for something they could be talking about for the ages. One of these teams will be heading into the offseason as the head honcho. Who will it be? Eagles? Riders? Let's wait and see. Here we are. You see the players strutting in, focused, locked in, and ready to go. No better place to be than the London O2 Arena for the SLB playoff finals. Hello and welcome in. Sit back, relax. There's no place you want to be. Right here in the winner's circle as I'm rubbing shoulders with greatness, Queen Zia Zania Stewart, and my former teammate and competitor, Anthony Rowe. Ant, kick things off, educate us. This is a rivalry that runs deep.
Well, there's not too many rivalries that have deeper roots than this one. If you've been a basketball fan, a British basketball fan since the early 2010s, you would know this rivalry very well. To put this into context, me and you, Drew, we've been in some battles over the years. We've got 16 pieces of silverware between us, and only one of those is outside of the Leicester Riders Newcastle Eagles rivalry. So this is a rivalry that is full of success, full of trophies. But let's look at the modern day history, right? So it started in December with the Newcastle Eagles knocking out the Leicester Riders in that semi-final of the trophy. There's bad blood since then.
There it is. You set the table right there. Zania, I need you to set the scene, describe this environment.
Well, it's every athlete's dream and what you're trying to get to, right? This pinnacle moment in this historical, iconic venue, and it's just an amazing feeling as fans are starting to come back from the women's game. There was great energy, and it's just a place where you want to wrap up the season and you know, take home a trophy.
Well, so far this season, we've had the cup, the trophy, the league. What's the significance of the playoffs?
Well, I just think it's, you know, first of all, you're going into the summer and feeling really good, winning, and also all the hard work that you've done, Drew, I think that just wraps this up and just, you know, feeling good. I think this is really important for both these teams.
Well, earlier, in case you missed it, we had an epic matchup in the women's games, the Oakland Wolves versus the Sheffield Hatters. Anthony, what did you witness there on the court side?
I witnessed two teams going pound for pound. It looked all lost for the Sheffield Sharks in the first half, but they fought back, and at halftime it was all square. And what a great finish. I thought that third quarter really blew the game open for Sheffield Sharks.
And Z, me and you sitting up here really worried for the Hatters, but some way, somehow they got it done.
Yeah, that first quarter, it was 21-11, but came back in in that second. There's the MVP. Georgia Gale was outstanding, shot those huge long distance logo threes. She had that 21 points as well, 19 points, excuse me. We'll give her 21, why not? But I just felt like she had those early foul troubles. She had to sit down in the first half, and she came out and just was a superstar in that second half.
Well, capping off a beautiful, unbelievable season in the women's game. But let's turn our attention back over to the men's and sink our teeth into this matchup, kicking things off with the Newcastle Eagles. 2021 won the playoff final, but the last time they were here, 2017, lost to, ironically, the Leicester Riders. How did they get here? Well, battle-tested by Manchester in the quarterfinals, and then in the semifinals, taking down the mighty, mighty London Lions. Take a look.
Welcome from Newcastle. It's the playoffs. Manchester doing a great job. Nice cross, and he drops. Irving, take a seat, young man. After 40 minutes, Newcastle Eagles comes out with a 7-point victory, 78-71.
As Okoro looks to extend Newcastle's lead and does. It's 35 all on the floor. Manchester still down 4. Mitchell pulls up for 3. Knocks it down! DJ Mitchell brings Manchester back within 8.9 seconds to go. He does go 2-2 from the line. They're not going to take a timeout. 6 seconds. Ashton Langford will throw the ball up.
Pulliam was going to foul, so he wouldn't allow Ashton Langford to shoot the 3. There's your ball game right there.
And the Newcastle Eagles move on to face the London Lions in the semi-finals.
Here comes Michael Okoro. Tries to split the defense. It goes right at 3 Lions and gets the deuce. Final 90 seconds of game 1 of semifinals. The ball taken away. Newcastle, nice, dunking. 2 more points for the Eagles. So now Newcastle will head home with a 6-point aggregate lead.
Here's James, rises up, left wing, buries it. Here's Laughlin, top of the key, and the Newcastle Eagles will take that.
Yeah, it seems like things are just getting worse and worse for the London Lions as this lead now stretches to 10 points.
London in must-score mode here, down 9. Stuckman with a chance to eat into it. Again, no. Money Mike on the races with Seneca. Coming down, flips it, backhand. And Micah Karu will dribble it out. And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen, as the Newcastle Eagles have punched their ticket to the London O2 Arena. Wow, Z, sometimes the playoffs is about that momentum. Yeah. What a run by the Newcastle Eagles.
And I think that's exactly it. They were 5th in the regular season. You know, they had a losing record. They were struggling, but the playoffs is a brand new season, and they've done so well. They got that massive win, 4-point aggregate, and then beating London Lions was fantastic also.
And earlier you educated us, but that was the old days. This is a new era, the SLB. How did Mark Studel get the Newcastle Eagles here today?
That's a great question, and Z's right. They're 14 and 18. You know, it's a losing record, and you can see what it means to him. You know, if I can see someone personified passion, that's right there. It's Coach Stuto, but he's done an incredible job. This wasn't an easy start for him. He's had to basically replace a Hall of Famer in Fabio Illinois. Difficult start for him, a couple losing seasons there, but I think he's got the balance right now. He's recruited well, and he's got a team as well that are united. You know, there's one thing you can say about the Newcastle Eagles this year. Their superpower is probably their connectivity and the unity.
Well, speaking of that, third string, third time lucky with the point guard position. Trey Pulliam has really been pulling the strings for this team.
Yeah, Pulliam has just been incredible, and I feel like he's really got to his positions, you know, shooting the 3 really well. Look at that percentage, 50%. That's a lovely percentage beyond the arc, but when they run him off the 3-point line, he's then getting into that pull-up bag or getting to the rim. Really lovely job from Pulliam.
The type of player that'll get some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
Yeah.
And we got 8 other point guards in this league. How does he separate himself?
right now, he's right up there. I think him and the other point guard we'll talk about just later in Jalen Hunter are the top 2 point guards at the moment. He was a late addition to this roster, remember, and there's one thing as well that he has that his teammates don't have, and that's silverware this year. He didn't play in that semi-final trophy, in the final trophy, excuse me. So Trey Pulliam will want to make sure that he is remembered for winning something in a Newcastle Eagles jersey.
Well, as you saw there on the highlight, he breaks defenses down like IKEA boxes. That's the Newcastle Eagles. Let's flip the script and ride her up and focus on Leicester. 5 trips to the playoff finals in the last 10 years. 4 wins. The fans got to really like that percentage. How did they get here? In the playoffs, first round, took care of business against the Bristol Flyers. But in the semifinals, after the first round, down 10 to Sheffield, some way, somehow, able to overturn it. Tune in.
Long way to go for the Flyers. New 14 for Leicester. Here's Ethan Wright. Here comes another 3-ball. Another 3-ball drops. And the Leicester Riders are really running away with this one. It is the Leicester Riders that will take a 23-point lead into Monday afternoon's second leg.
Right. Oh, beautiful spin from Ethan Wright. Back out to Wright. Uses his speed and attacks on Rick for the one-handed jab.
Unbelievable, it's a broken play, and it winds up in the hands of Ethan Wright, who just sort of pressed the ejection button.
The final score in Leicester. Leicester have won this one by 6, and on aggregate they've won it by 164 points to 135.
Hunter will go through, Wright will go for 3, and this time he will drain it. But there's a 3-pointer they desperately need from Jalen Hunter. Hunter, interesting option. Not sure it was the best option. It was, though, in the end, wasn't it? From Zach Jackson. So the Sheffield Sharks will take a 10-point advantage to Leicester for the second leg against the Riders.
They go straight to Thompson, who hammers it down.
Well, that's where I would have went down, as Charles Thompson delivers with a thunderous dunk there to start proceedings.
It's into Thompson. Thompson on the turnaround is short. We are going to overtime. We are going to overtime. Hunter, pass, that's triangulated in, and Leicester have a 10-point lead. And that could be it. That could be it. They lost the first leg by 10. They needed overtime to see it home here in the second leg, but they won this game by 20, and they are through to the final.
Well, Rob P. saw Mark Studo's lap of honor and said, I'll one-up you. But after game 1 in Sheffield, I tweeted, another semifinal, another flameout. Tell us what you witnessed at Meteor Arena 7 days ago.
No, Drew, I've had the privilege to be a part of many games over the years, but that was something very special. I think the fans understood as well the jeopardy of the game. Because Leicester Riders went up 10 points early, it sucked everyone in that building in, including me and Dan Rowledge. We were locked in, and Leicester Riders had an amazing performance there, but Sheffield Sharks didn't lay down. They even had cameo appearances from players that were injured in Donovan Clay, but you can just see as well, Rob Paternoster is a coach that's been here so many times. He's the coach who's been here the most, but it means so much to him to get here again. And that, again, when you look at those clips from Mark Stuto as well, you've got 2 coaches there, 2 of the top coaches at the moment who want this badly. So I don't know who's going to come out on top today, but Leicester Riders are a team they've been involved in as times went on. They've been sort of the bridesmaids, 2 semi-finals they've been knocked out of, and they've lost big games. They lost that title-winning game as well to London Lions. This could be the game for them that changes the whole narrative.
Well, Rob has been here many times, but with experience, this place traditionally is about experience. So, Z, how did they make it here with 5 rookies?
Well, I had the privilege to commentate in Paris with Rob Paternoster, so we sat down and he got to recruit, and I went through that process with him. Wow, first of all, look at that 3-piece suit. Rob Paternoster looking outstanding. And outstanding he did recruiting this team. He went for rookies, but, he said he also wanted young guys, but IQ guys, smart guys. And that's what he's really done. And this has shown now how they've got here. With obviously, they're young. They shouldn't be here, but they're really smart. They come from great colleges. And he looks fantastic. He's giving you a run for his money.
I mean, that powder blue, my goodness. Well, there's a lot of juicy matchups in this game, but specifically, I'm licking my chops for Pulliam and Hunter. You've seen them all season and break his game down for us.
I think this is point guard 1 against point guard 2, and I'm not going to put them in order. The two best point guards at the moment. Jalen Hunter's been really hard to sort of criticize this year. Look at his numbers, 12.5 points per game, 7 assists, which leads all assists per game in the league this year. The only criticism I can have with Jalen Hunter is he sometimes doesn't know when to assert himself offensively. That is where he's got it right in the latter point of the season. It starts from the playoffs. In Bristol, he top scored in game 1, set the tone, which advanced him to the semi-finals. I thought he was excellent against Sheffield as well, particularly in overtime. He had 10 of the 12 points in overtime, which booked the seat for Leicester Riders here today. So Jalen Hunter, he's a rookie point guard. He's grown throughout the season, but I think if he can have an assertive game as well as getting his assists, Leicester Riders will be favourites here today.
Well, quickly, just elaborate on his evolution, because at the beginning of the season, seemed like a quiet rookie, but I've seen him be a lot more vocal as of yet.
Yeah, and I think that's, visually you can see him a bit, he's louder, quiet in terms of he likes to run the team, he likes to be organised, but I think true point guards always know when to step up and make the big plays and make the big shots. It's making your teammates comfortable, but also being ready and waited when called upon, and I think he's got that now. Be really interesting to see how he performs on this stage.
Well, Z, I hate to do this to you, but I'm not here to be your friend. I need you to put you on the spot. Which one of these point guards have the edge here today?
Well, this is really difficult because obviously Hunter is a rookie and there's these moments where he hasn't been to a final yet. The lights are bright and it's a long day. You've got to manage all yourself, your routine, and that's where I'm a little bit worried about him, But I don't know. I just think it's going to be a great final. I think Rob's going to have his team in a lovely position, but Mark Studo, this is his 3rd year with this Newcastle team. He's been confident. He's been coaching all season too. He's been with the GB team in the break. This is going to be a chess battle between coaching and who's going to do the little things, who's going to dive on the floor, who's going to screen. It's going to be massive.
So much to look forward to, and we appreciate your insight. I'm glad we was able to keep this civilized.
Pre-tip-off, Drew. Pre-tip-off.
We'll see what happens afterwards. Well, let's transition over to the coaches. Our courtside reporter, Bob Ballard, got an opportunity to catch up with them both a little bit earlier.
Expectation levels for you now?
Yeah, I'm so proud of my team throughout this run. I think that we've demonstrated the values in our team that we believe in, and we spoke about that throughout this playoff run. Spoke about that throughout this season. I'm really proud of my guys, over the 9 months, and to be here playing on the last day of the season is everything that we wanted.
You have played so many more games than everybody else. Not surprising, you're a bit of a beaten-up team. How are they going into this?
Yeah, I believe today's game 61, if my maths is right. It's not my strong point. But yeah, my group's had an incredible week of practice. I think we've found a way to make everything purposeful, even with a few bodies. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be any surprises today in terms of what to expect from Leicester. Good team. We've had a good rivalry with them this season. Not to say, what's happened over the previous however many years. So yeah, I think today is going to be about, which team is able to make more winning plays, which team is able to be more connected, which team is able to find the right runs at the right time, and we're excited and we believe that we can do that.
And what does the O2 being here mean for you?
Yeah, I think I'm fortunate we're a lead, a very selfless group. We've got a group that we know has a lot of offensive scoring threats, guys who can create their own shot. And, when you have a lot of guys that way, you've got to try and find a way to get everybody to buy in and to be selfless and to find the joy in playing together. And I think that we've done that in abundance, none more so than over this playoff run. So we set this out at the start of the season, as probably 8 other teams did. But again, throughout this run, we've kind of reset, refocused, and left it all out there every time. So to be here now is one thing. I was so proud of my guys, not only in the quarters and the semis, but now we're here. Like everybody, the competitive juices are flowing, and we want to do all we can to win the game.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Rob, another final for you. How does this differ, if indeed it does, from the other ones you've been in before?
They're all different. Obviously, different group, different season. But the drive in here certainly brings back memories. A lot of happy memories for me. It's awesome to be down here. I think when you start the season, there isn't one coach or player that doesn't want to be here at the end. So we feel fortunate to be here today.
And in terms of preparation for a game like this, is it any different to a regular league game?
It all depends on where you are as far as health goes. I think for us, we got a pretty good week of practice in. We know the team well. They know us well. So, when you're going over these subjects, the students, the players, certainly have learned this before. So, we know what they do, and they're a tough team to guard. So we're prepared, and now it's time to make it happen on the day.
And people say you're going with a favorites tag. Do you see that?
No, I don't see that. It is what it is. I think they're a team that obviously their league performance a little up and down, but whenever they've had to win a game in competitions, they've come up big. We have a lot of respect for them. We think they're a very difficult team to guard. So, it comes down to what happens in between the lines, and it's, the day to shine for someone.
Have a great one.
Thank you.
Well, the sideline battle is fascinating, Z. On one side, you got Rob, 17 titles, been in this environment many times. On the other side, you got the new kid on the block, Coach Stoodle, proving he's ready for this moment. Let's start things off with Rob. How will that experience factor to here today?
I think it's huge, years of experience does come into it. Also, a little bit, obviously it's a new game here in the finals, but they have beaten Newcastle 3 times this season. It was 3-1 in regular season. I just think it's going to be a great final. I think right now it's the little things, the coaching battle, subs dealing with fouls that we saw in the women's game. Your superstars got fouled, trouble, so it's just step by step, play by play.
Well, the series has been so tight. One of the games this season ended up in a tie. Focusing on Mark Stoodle, the narrative coming out of that camp has been the game. 60-plus games this season. Will that be a factor here today?
Yeah, you know what? Their season was really tough. They were playing in Europe as well. What I think they did really well especially against London Lions in the semi-final, they gritted it out. They made it really a slow game. There was 40 free throws for Newcastle, so they really slowed down, took the fun out of the game for London. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do that, because the Riders love to get out and run.
Well, that's the coaches. Let's turn our attention to the bucket getters, Micah Caro for the Newcastle Eagles and Jack Jackson from Leicester.
The big day is here. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Something we've been working on all year to get to this point, and I think we're all excited.
The amount of games you've played this season, you played more than anybody else. This is the last one. Did it just put all your effort in for the last go?
I mean, for sure. We want to come out here and go out as winners. That's what we've been, preaching and working on all year. And, like you said, we played more than everybody in this league, and we just want to leave as winners. So.
How much responsibility do you feel for this team? Because everybody looks to you. You're the real kind of inspiration for a lot of people.
I think I just play my part, honestly. Coach allows me to be me. My teammates allow me to be myself, and I just go out there and just play my part. Everybody on this team has a role, and I feel we've been coming together and doing that. So.
And you know them pretty well. What kind of matchup are you expecting?
I know it's going to be a great game. They're coached well. They have some good players. And, it's a rivalry. We're just here to renew it.
Have a great one.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Zach, the O2, how much are you looking forward to this game?
It feels good to be back here after the season we've had. We've lost a lot of big games that would get us in a position like this, but I feel like we found our rhythm and we have some good momentum going into the game.
How's your body holding up? Because you log more court time than anybody else in the league. Everything's still working pretty well?
I'm not really worried about that today. Knowing it's the last game, it's not really on my mind how my body's holding. I'm just going to go out there and play as hard as I can today.
But what about the matchup with Newcastle? You pretty much know them inside out. What kind of game do you expect?
In this league you play everybody so many times, and in these finals games, it's usually a game of runs, so it's just kind of keeping your composure throughout the game and see who can come out on top.
And what would it mean to the Riders to win today?
I think it would mean a lot. Like I said, we've had some tough losses this year, and I think we've shown a lot of resiliency to make it to this point, even in the semifinal leg, coming back from 10 down. I think it would mean a lot to us and to the fans.
Have a great game.
Thank you.
Two soft-spoken guys, but their game is loud, but they do things a little bit differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really cool about this is Micah Corey is second leading in scoring in the SLB. For me, I felt like I got to commentate him in the London semi-final, and he hit those 2 threes really early that built his confidence. Zach, 4th in scoring in the SLB. So both of these guys, there it is, 17.7 for Zach and then Mike Okoro. And you've got to see Mike a lot because you commentated them. I felt like he's the engine for Newcastle Eagles. If he goes, the team goes.
Yeah, that's a great point. February 14th, got an opportunity to watch Mike Okoro live and up close. 40 points on the season. What a night. And like you mentioned, Z, when he's there, he gives those other guys confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, also getting other guys involved, if he can obviously get his scoring. But in that London semi-final, he only had 10 points in that second leg of the final, where he had that 25 in that first. But if the offense isn't dropping for him, he's then finding these guys. And this is what Newcastle have had to deal with, injuries. They've had 7 guys, all they had, a 2-man sub, and they figured out a way, and he's definitely a big part of it.
They definitely are figuring it out and getting it done on the other side. Zach Jackson, earlier you mentioned 5 rookies on the team. How has he been able to lead his leadership?
Well, I think he's always stayed calm, cool. Nobody's pushed him out of his place. He's got into his, favorite spots. And I really like how he's played. You can see that Rob has full confidence in him, and that is exuding on the court, and that's really... But look, I feel like he looks quite relaxed here, doesn't look too nervous. But we'll just have to see with rookies, Sometimes they step up and look fantastic and don't look like a rookie at all, or sometimes they can crumble, and fall apart. So this first quarter is going to be important for the Leicester Riders.
Well, one thing that I like doing is putting you on the spot. Who you got? Right before we go to comms, Newcastle Eagles, Leicester Riders for bragging rights to go off into the sunset.
Well, I was correct with the women's game, and I said Sheffield, and they won. I'm going to go. This is really difficult. I think I'm going to go Newcastle Eagles.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Newcastle Eagles. I felt like they've figured out ways to... When you've got a small rotation of 7 guys, you know your role. But it's going to be tough. Can Riders hit shots and handle the momentum? But Mike, he's got to step up. Usually wears gold shoes in these finals, so I need to see if he's got those on. But I'm going to go Newcastle Eagles.
Well, just to make sure we're clear, she said that, Leicester Rider fans, not me. Don't come after me on Twitter like you normally do. But I think someone that will be leaning in the Leicester Riders direction is our guy, Anthony Rowe, as he's down in our comms booth with Daniel Routledge. Take it away, my friend.
Thank you very much, Drew. Yes, good afternoon and welcome to the iconic O2 Arena. Whether you're watching nervously at home in Leicester, in Newcastle, in North America, maybe friends and families, even in Kenmare in County Kerry, hello to you for this, the final day of the season, the final game of the season. And the 2 most successful teams of recent times, most successful teams in British basketball history. There has not been a rivalry like this one. We've seen them so many times over the years in finals, and you've been in them, Drew's been in them. This rivalry just recurs and recurs. These 2 teams find ways to meet each other in big games.
And it's an interesting one as well, Dan, because this rivalry has stolen trophies from the other, but it's also sharpened them. It's also made them better. I remember playing in a Leicester Riders jersey, and it was always to compete and go above and beyond than whatever the Newcastle Eagles were doing. Some years they won, some years we won, but it's incredible as a former player and as a basketball fan now to see this rivalry reignited.
Well, this is the 11th final these 2 teams have played against. The next best combo is 5. That shows how big it's been. This has been the lineup they've run with in the playoffs. This has been the lineup that Newcastle have been successful with. Will Neighbour, obviously drafted in. He's been out of the injured most of the season, but other injuries have forced him into the starting lineup. He's been great.
No, you'll have to give him massive amounts of credit too. This is really difficult. Being thrown in the deep end, this is him being thrown in the deep end. But he has responded positively. Mark, coach student will need that size. Will Neighbour is 6'10", but he's not your traditional big man. So let's see if his length can help them on the boards.
Well, we know what the Leicester starting five is. It's the same five every week. This is the most predictable starting lineup in British basketball.
Yep, with that predictable nature's come consistency though, Dan, and they've been consistent. Yes, they came second fiddle on some of the big games of the season, but they've been consistent. They locked in second place for the SLB this year, not far off championship caliber.
Well, for the fourth time in a playoff final, it is Leicester against Newcastle. Again, no other teams have met more on the biggest stage than these two. But which one of them will be celebrating in about an hour and a half, maybe an hour 40 time? Newcastle have somehow seen off the injuries and navigated their way through. Leicester came from the depths of despair in the first leg in the semi-final against Sheffield to punch their ticket. But there is not much experience of O2 basketball out there. Who will step to the fore and make themselves a name to be remembered? Rob Paternostro has been here more than anybody else. He will know what it takes to be done. A first time for Mark Stootle.
20, Spencer Johnson. 21, Zach Jackson.
Here we are then, 40 minutes from glory. It's Leicester, it's Newcastle, and we are underway in the playoff final. Leicester with the opening possession. Here's Thompson going along the baseline. Neighbour does a decent job, but Thompson manages to score.
And that's what you would identify as the mismatch down low. Because of the size and strength advantage of the Leicester Riders, you would feel that favours them. But you would feel it favours London, and you feel it favours Manchester, but it didn't. Can Newcastle Eagles adapt to that?
And that is what Will Neighbour brings to the floor. The stretching out to the three-point line.
Well, it's okay giving up twos inside if you're hitting threes on the other end of the floor, Dan. And Will Neighbour, positive start from him.
Well, he is one bit of experience on this Newcastle team. As Abercrombie goes in, that will drop, and he'll have a chance at three the old-fashioned way.
Well, Riley Abercrombie's going to be one of those X-Factor players here. He's had some big performances for the Riders this season, and his length at 6'10", 6'11", with his soft touch and perimeter shooting makes him a very difficult matchup for anyone.
The best semi-final by his standards, but he's got off to a good start here in the final with a first score, but he cannot convert the three-point play. Here's Pulliam, who's been excellent. He loses the ball though. Oh, actually there's a foul. I didn't notice the referee on the baseline. It's so loud I couldn't hear the whistle, but it is going to be a foul on Hunter.
Well, that dribble that we've seen Trey Pulliam get at a crossover there, get that space to attack the rim, and tough call there on Jalen Hunter.
Long to inbound. Here's Okoro. Okoro fires up. His shot is off the mark. Rebound by Thompson.
Well, and Thompson just challenging that one there, making sure that Okoro knew that he was there, ready and waiting.
Jackson out to Hunter for three. Jalen Hunter splashes it.
And that's the thing, Jalen Hunter, if he can be assertive, if he can be aggressive and look for his own shot, as well as being able to get his teammates involved and distribute the ball, he becomes a key piece to this Leicester Riders team.
Ward Hibbert, he's going to fire up the three. That's short. Long rebound comes all the way out to Pulliam though. Pulliam has the mismatch, but he can't take advantage of it. Well, Hunter gets back up off the floor and tosses it in for two.
That is unbelievable. How he didn't turn the ball over is one thing, but he keeps the dribble alive while on the floor and then recovers his stance and scores the ball.
Mismatch here for Long. Backing down on Hunter, who does enough. Ward Hibbert on the offensive glass. He's fouled, I think, from behind by Abercrombie. Jalen Hunter lost his feet, but kept the ball and was able to score.
Wow, unbelievable bit of play there from Jalen Hunter. Early 5 points for him, so clearly looking for his shot early, and he's delivering so far.
Well, Josh Ward-Hibbert, once they line up, will go to the free throw line. 6 playoff final appearances for Josh Ward-Hibbert before today. He's won 4, he's lost 2. He has, of course, played for 3 of the most successful franchises in British basketball, having played for Leicester and London and now Newcastle. It's a good way to win medals, that, playing for those 3 clubs.
It is, and unlike football, Dan, you don't get crucified by the fans when you cross alliances. But no, Josh Ward-Hibbert, British player, all British player this year. He's an unbelievable defender as well. He's a winner. He's one of those guys that you want on your roster, and Coach Mark Stoutel has done a very, very good bit of business getting him up to Newcastle.
Here's Jackson. Kicks it out. Hunter pumps on the 3. Out to Abercrombie. He knocks down a triple. 2 early threes for Leicester.
Wow, Leicester's offense looks really well oiled at the moment. Ball moving around. They're a team that leads the league in assists per game, as well as having the point guard who leads the assists per game. So they share the basketball, get good quality looks, and there's another one right there.
Here's Okoro. Down to Neighbour. 5 on the shot clock. Neighbour finds Ward-Hibbert. Ward-Hibbert has to get it away, and he does just in time.
Excellent job of moving around the basketball there. Josh Ward-Hibbert doesn't just stand still in the corner. He's moving around the basketball. Perfectly timed cut. Nice finish.
Hunter. Johnson. Gets it to Jackson, who did well to pull that one in and lay it home.
He did. Speaking of moving around the basketball, Zach Jackson cuts perfectly.
Okoro way off the mark for 3. I don't think Thompson was expecting it, but it ended up in his hands. Jackson hiding behind the screen. Gets past Long to the rim. Once a foul, doesn't get it.
Just a little short there. I thought Long did really well there just to do enough to put him off the shot.
Well, there's a bit of a mismatch here with Okoro being guarded by Thompson, but Pulliam keeps it for himself. He drives in. Oh, that somehow rims out. Pulliam gets his own rebound, though. Long moving without the ball, lays it in.
Great work there. I like that trade. Pulliam stayed with the play there, didn't hang his head. And perfectly timed cut again from Cole Long for the finish.
Here's Thompson. Trying to spin baseline. Neighbour does a good job of forcing him back out. Shot clock low here for Leicester. Johnson has to get it away, and late whistle, but a foul is called. I thought they overcrowded him, really, given the situation.
I agree, Dan. There's no need to do that. No need to even do anything that's going to get the referee to blow a whistle there. They did everything you want to do. You've got the shooter trapped in the corner. Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's one of those ones you don't need that. Good defense there from Newcastle Eagles initially.
First foul of the game on Michael Okoro. In and out for Johnson.
A couple early, look, it's really early, but a couple early missed free throws here. And if you remember the game 1 against Sheffield Sharks in the semi-finals, 2 for 9 from the free throw line.
Well, the Sheffield Hatters missed a few early free throws. Is there a sub here? What's going on? Leicester were making a sub, and Newcastle had inbounded the ball. The Hatters ended up shooting pretty well from the free throw line. It's Ethan Wright who checks into the game. Hunter sits down for the first time. Ethan Wright, 6th man of the year in Super League basketball, getting his first taste of the playoff final.
Incredible season Ethan Wright's had. Not a lot of players can do what he's done. Some players need to start, they need to get into the game early, but Ethan Wright's been a prime example of being able to analyse a game and influence it when he's entered.
Okoro drives in, kicks it out to Pulliam. 5 on the shot clock for Pulliam. He's kind of stuck. He gets it out long, absolutely wide open, way off the mark.
Well, that's a look that he would want back, and if Newcastle Eagles can get Cole Long in that position there, he's going to be able to convert more than miss.
Johnson gets a long way into that pump fake. Misses the shot though. Suddenly the early offense is slow. Pulliam. Again, they're getting deep into the shot clock. Pulliam drives. He's off the mark. Rebound, Thompson. Johnson drops it off to Abercrombie, who lays it in.
Nice finish there, and again, it's Riley Abercrombie running straight to the rim that time.
First time out of the game is called by Mark Stuchel and the Newcastle Eagles. His team have slipped 8 points behind. It's the biggest lead of the contest so far. And again, what Leicester were doing well early, what they've done well all season, is finding gaps. And as you say, the ball moves.
That's one of the things that Leicester Riders have that a lot of other teams don't have in the SLB this year. They've got an unchanged roster, so you've got the comfortability and connectivity of the unit playing together since pre-season, and there's no coincidence why they lead the league in assists per game. And yes, Rob Paternoster there in screen running, drawing up the plays, but you've also got to have individuals that are willing to sacrifice good looks for great ones.
Well, Newcastle have dressed, by the way, Darius Defoe, Malcolm Delpesh and Deshaun Allen Aikens. None of them were warming up like they were going to play, by the way. Darius could barely hobble out for the team introductions, but they're all dressed, so they would all get a winner's medal should Newcastle win at the end of the game. But it has been a tale of injuries for Mark Stuchel over the last few weeks. Darius you can see even just walking down the bench, he's hobbling. There we go, there's the A&E department of Newcastle.
Yeah, it's a long lesson for Newcastle Eagles too. The quality of that bench too is quite substantial, but it hasn't slowed their goals or objectives of winning the SLB playoffs here. They found a really good unit. Seneca Knight on ball now has been excellent for them at this last stages of the season.
His first touch, his shot doesn't go. Who did that touch last? It must have been Thompson, because it's going to be a Newcastle ball. James checked in as well as Knight during that timeout. Oh, there's a foul off the ball there on Seneca Knight. He and Jackson collided. It's actually Jackson that's been caught, and Knight pushed him away. You've got to be careful with stuff like that. What's happening here? Oh, it's going to be a sideline ball rather than an end-line ball. Pulliam, he has Knight open, he eventually sends it that way. Ward Hibbert setting the screen, Knight drives in. Ward Hibbert backs out for three and knocks it down. There's a foul on the rebound. The three will count. The foul is, I think, on James. Well, here's the shot from Ward Hibbert. Just watch James running in, and he just barrels Johnson to the ground.
There's Ethan Wright. Riders on the move. Into Riley
Abercrombie.
Jackson takes over. Back to Ethan Wright.
Wright drives to the rim and lays it in.
Great move there from Ethan Wright. He's often likes to do that. He doesn't just come off the bench and shoot a plethora of threes. He likes to be aggressive and attack the rim. Nice finish.
Pulliam. James has the size here on Johnson, trying to muscle him out of the way. Johnson does well enough, but James shoots over it.
Well, we talk about Newcastle Eagles being undersized, but Christian James has been excellent. He plays a lot bigger than his 6'6" frame, and he's been literally massive for them in and outside the paint.
Right. He takes it to the basket, followed by Johnson. He can't tip it in, though. Knight pushing. Knight gets all the way. He's blocked from behind by Thompson.
Wow, see Charles Thompson chasing that down like we've seen him do all season.
Oh, good hands from Pulliam. Newcastle have numbers. Pulliam to Knight. Knight. And Abercrombie is called for the foul. It'll be 2 free throws.
Great job there from Riley Abercrombie. I think 3-on-1 there. The best you can do is not only foul, but don't commit a unsportsmanlike foul. You see Newcastle Eagles good spacing of the floor here. But Riley Abercrombie, to do enough here, and Seneca Knight, not known for his free throw, 79%, free throw shooter.
Second foul on Abercrombie. Micah Coro's returned to the game.
That's been in my short-term memory. I've noticed him missing some big free throws in the last stages of the season, Seneca Knight. He's been excellent for this Newcastle Eagles team. Undersized when you compare him to your traditional big men, but ferocious rebounder of the basketball.
Oh, he's missed both of them.
Rebound from Ethan Wright. Riders moving forwards. Charles
Thompson. Going in alone to the hook. Nice.
That's excellent, and that's the problem with Charles Thompson's got time there and he catches it that deep. There's no one on the Newcastle Eagles roster that can match him.
Well, there's a couple, but they're both injured.
Yes. No one today.
Well, here's James trying to give some back at the other end against Wright, and he's able to force it home.
He is so tough to guard, Christian James, because he's got that power and athleticism inside, but also you cannot leave him open on the perimeter because he'll knock down a three.
Thompson. Back to Wright. Johnson in the corner for three. Off the mark. Thompson somehow grabs the rebound and he throws it back in for another two.
His
6
energy
early points.
and his strength has been unbelievable. Defensive player of the year, but he is so much more than his trade on defense. He brings so much energy and production on the offensive end.
Knight. Out to Long for three. Rebound Abercrombie. Again they go to Thompson, this time it's Long. He squares up to, and there's a reach-in foul on Long. Well, Victor Nduku checks into the game for the first time with Abercrombie sitting down. He's got some minutes in recent weeks, the young man.
He has, and it's great to see as well. He's a 22-year-old British player, came through the associated development avenues there for the Leicester Riders, and he's being thrust in now, centre stage, and he's delivered so far for Coach Paternostro.
Well, he was on the roster for one playoff final before, but he's on the court here. Here's Thompson trying to force it home. Doesn't go. Again, James, well, he's posting up on the three-point line, basically. He's going to shoot the three. Front iron. Leicester gobbling up all the rebounds at the minute.
Yeah, not a great offense there from Newcastle Eagles. Very stagnant as well. And as you say, Dan, posting up on the three-point line is not going to give you an advantage.
It's going to be a flop warning for Will Neighbour as Thompson continues to be perfect from the floor.
He's going to be a problem if he's able to catch the ball that deep.
Oh, Pulliam's lost it off his leg. Say perfect. He missed last time down, didn't he? 4 or 5, nearly perfect.
Hunter is going
to, yeah, you take 4 or 5. Hunter's going to come back and Shelton's going to come in for the first time. Duke Shelton, the former Newcastle Eagle. Nobody will be more emotionally charged up for a playoff final against Newcastle than Duke.
Emotionally charged up, Dan. He doesn't need a rivalry.
He doesn't need anything else. He just needs a basketball court. He's ready to rally. Hunter pulls up for three and hits on the buzzer. Big shot for Jalen Hunter. And he nods his approval of that. 3 shots for Jalen Hunter, 8 points in total. And Leicester have their biggest lead of the game at the end of the opening quarter.
Well, great point guards know when they need to insert themselves and look for their own shots, and Jalen Hunter's done exactly that in this first quarter. 8 points personal for him. And this is a big time shot here. Everyone knows he's trying to get to that left hand of his, and that pull up there, just off the screen set by Duke Shelton. Thing of beauty. Wow.
Well, he is certainly delivered in the first quarter, and look at the shooting numbers. Both taken 18 shots. Leicester have made twice as many. That's why they're up 12.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you summarised the math for us there, Dan, and you can't help as well but feel that rebounds as well. That besides a few that Newcastle Eagles have been able to recycle, Leicester Riders done a really good job of being able to secure those rebounds.
Well, we are on the banks of the Thames here in London at the O2 Arena, one of the most spectacular basketball venues anywhere, to be honest with you. It's such a beautiful place to play the game of basketball. And we have 2 of the greatest names in British basketball going toe-to-toe for the silverware. And it is Leicester who are currently leading this one by 12. These 2 teams have won more playoff finals than any other clubs by some distance in the history of British basketball. Newcastle have 7, Leicester have 6. Will they be level at the end, or will Newcastle have an 8-6 lead in playoff victories? Well, Rob Paternostro and Mark Stoutel have had their say in the 2-minute break. While in the women's final a little earlier, it was Oaklands who jumped out to a double-figure lead in the early stages. It was Sheffield who hung on and then came back to win in the second half. Newcastle will be hoping for a little repeat here in the men's version. Pulliam has the mismatch with Shelton, but he goes to Okoro, who is absolutely wide open. He can't convert. Shelton gets the rebound.
Newcastle had some good looks from beyond the 3-point line. Haven't quite got it going yet. 2 for 8 for them so far.
Leicester 3 of 4 the other way. Here's Shelton down low. He backs down, but he left his hook a little short.
Now he will bring it away into Christian James.
Long knocks Hunter to the ground. Nobody's happy with that. No call.
Eagles reset. Now he will try.
Shot clock down. Oh, blocked by Wright. Leicester have the ball. Do they? No, they've turned it over. No, somehow Hunter still has it. He needs some help, and they get it away, Leicester. Wright down the middle. He blows the layup, but there's a foul called, and it'll be 2 free throws.
Wow, a little bit of chaos there ensued on the court, and it's Leicester Riders that came up the beneficiary of that near turnover, but great work there on the floor. I think the Jalen Hunter and then Ethan Wright, the open floor, gets fouled, is to the line for 2.
Well, Mark Stoutel is unhappy about, I think he thought there was a foul at the other end. I think that's what he's arguing about. But you can see he's still not best pleased. The conversation is still going on between he and referee Unsworth. And here we go. We can go back to the other end where Ethan Wright is awaiting his chance to shoot the free throws. Well, Rob Paternostro, I'm sure, underneath the calm exterior, will be a heart beating 10 a dozen and a brain thinking of the next play, the next play, the next play. Wright goes 1 for 2 from the line. Leicester have missed 3 free throws in the early stages. Newcastle have missed a couple.
Back to Trey
Pullier to Okoro. He drives in. He had to throw it up high to avoid Shelton, but throw it up high he did.
Unbelievable. Michael Coro, how many times have we seen him do that this year? And you think he's going to get blocked, but he figures out a way to shoot it just that little bit higher. Nice finish.
First points of the game for him. He had been 0 for 4. Here's Jackson at the elbow. He splashes it.
Goodness me, when 2 superstars back-to-back buckets there from Michael Coro and Zach Jackson.
Long. Back to Pullier. Again, it's Okoro. Shot clock down to 5. He's got the mismatch. He drives in. He gets it away, gets his own rebound, and he puts it in at the second attempt.
Great work there for Michael Coro, and he's got that spring in his step as well. He stayed with the play, was the first to react and got an easy 2 to go.
Oh, knocked away illegally so by Pulliam. That's going to be the second foul on Trey Pulliam. So that's Abercrombie at one end and Pulliam at the other. Pulliam's going to sit down.
Big loss there for Newcastle Eagles. Well, intermittently, it'd be interesting to see how long that Mark Stuttle leaves Trey Pulliam on the bench, picking up 2 fouls. And that's one of the things I think Trey Pulliam, you'll see. He likes to play defense, and he's someone who's never afraid to back down, but he's been a few instances where he has been in foul trouble. And on this team where he's really the only true point guard, that can be detrimental to the Newcastle Eagles.
Well, somehow, whether it's Shelton or Wright, that gets tipped in. Newcastle jumped into a bit of a zone there. Stolen away by Hunter. Fakes the pull-up 3, drives it in, and is that Okoro or is that Long? Whoever it is, it's going to be a second foul. It's Mike Okoro. So quickly into some foul issues here, Newcastle, with Pulliam and then Okoro straight away going to 2 fouls. And well, Pulliam didn't sit down for long, did he? He's coming back in.
Well, and this is the problem Coach Stuttle has now. He's going to roll the dice, but would you rather roll it with Michael Coro or your point guard, Pulliam?
I don't know. I'm supposed to ask you that question.
I'm thinking out loud then. I don't know what I would do. And I mean, I think the strategy here is to try and preserve them both, but he obviously trusts Trey Pulliam more than Okoro at this moment in time.
Well, Hunter makes both from the free throw line. He is into double figures, the first man in the final to get to 10. Big moments these for Newcastle with a bit of foul trouble and down 15. Long is open underneath. He's fouled by Wright, and Long will go to the line for a bonus.
That's a great pass inside, and that's why you'd want to keep Trey Pulliam on the court. Because of instances just like that, you see him surveying his options there, and he picked the right one. Look at this, off the screen there. That little patience, nice pass inside, and Cole Long's did an excellent job there to be patient and then finish the play.
And he converts the three-point play as well. Newcastle with a bit of full court pressure here. Hunter deals with it himself. His pass was a little behind Jackson. Hunter gets it to Nduku. Nduku, top of the key, off the mark. Shelton gets the offensive rebound. Just about forces it in and gives it a good flex as well.
Well, you knew it was coming down if that ball dropped, and Duke Shelton's energy and strength there just outworks everyone else.
I think he leads the leagues in flexes per game, Duke Shelton.
There's not a doubt in my mind that he's leading in that front.
Nice follow there from Cole Long. And Rob Paternostre wants to talk things over. 4 minutes gone in the second quarter. His Leicester Riders lead here by 12, but you get the feeling that these are the moments here. If Leicester can take advantage with Newcastle in a bit of foul trouble, down 12, Newcastle maybe dropping into a bit of zone from time to time, and they've got that strength on the glass from Shelton that Rob will want to take advantage here.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Dan. And I think you've got instances there in this game where you can blow a game wide open, and weaker mentally teams, they'll fold. Newcastle Eagles is not that, by the way. You know, they're hanging around. I think 2 really big, important baskets from Cole Long on the last 2 possessions. I think if he misses those, Riders come down and score. You know, you're getting forever closer to that 20-point lead. You do not want to be down by 20 at this moment in time. So, you know, very, I think, clever time out here from Coach Paternostre, but he'll want to try and blow this game open as early as possible.
Well, Rob has a tremendous record in finals. Many of them have been against Newcastle, as I touched upon earlier. Twice as many finals between Leicester and Newcastle as any other combination of teams in the history of top-flight British basketball. They've gone both ways. There's been some Eagles successes and some Riders successes along the way.
Well, when I was tallying them up this morning, me and Drew Lasker, 16 pieces of silverware between us, and only one of those was outside of this rivalry.
Back underway with Jalen Hunter.
Hunter has the ball for Leicester. Jackson turns the corner. Off the mark, Shelton going after it again, but Ward Hibbert able to grab the rebound. Knight turns the corner, drives to the basket and lays it in.
Great finish, and that's a positive sign for Seneca Knight, just because he's a player that can score those 15 to 20 points a game for you. Be interesting to see now how he reacts after scoring his first 2 points here today.
Shelton trying to hand it off. In the end, he goes it alone. To the spin, through the contact. Will it go? Not quite. That one had a long old thing, but didn't drop for Shelton.
Wow, it's good that he's been active, though. Because naturally, too, when you substitute a player like Charles Thompson, you always say, you know, how big of a drop-off is it? Just because Charles Thompson's so impactful on both ends of the floor. But what Duke Shelton's delivered, I think, for this Riders team is the target man who can throw the ball down low, and he's creative enough, and he's got a soft touch, he's athletic, and he can score the ball and get you those high percentage shots. We've even seen him knock down a couple big threes over the season.
Yeah, he hadn't made any three-pointers in his career before this year, but he's knocked a few down. He makes a couple of free throws there, and he's going to sit back down as Thompson comes in for him. A lot of appreciation for Shelton as he gets the high fives from his teammates. Knight. In the corner is Pulliam. Pulliam doesn't shoot that many threes, but when he does, he's deadly.
Yeah, and he needed that one too. He's had a slow start. That's his first field goal of today. 0 for 4 before that one, but that's a big shot.
Nice pass. A little too strong, though, from Thompson.
Picks up the rebound. Trey Pulliam will bring it forwards. Into Christian James.
James has the size here. Kicks it out to Knight. Knight backs away for three, in and out. Jackson just about grabs that rebound.
He's done really well here. Josh Ward Hibbert hanging off his arms. And Seneca Knight almost got that triple to go.
Hunter, long two, knocks it down. Jalen Hunter continues to be perfect from all distances for 12 points. Ward Hibbert's on his own, but he's not 7'5", so he couldn't get up and catch that.
Oh, it's a really high and hard pass. Quite a way off the mark there, and that's a risky run when you're trying to get a quick, easy basket. You got a quick, easy turnover instead.
Oh, you have to be well aware in the, well, that probably went to about the 5th or 6th row, never mind the first row. Leicester by 11, 4 minutes from half-time. Again, Newcastle with a bit of full court pressure. Not too much pressure, just enough. Johnson knocked away by Long. Okoro running it back. Off the glass, great finish, Mike Okoro.
If he gets the defender on that left shoulder and he's going right, he is near perfect with that finish.
Ooh, and Dooku pass was a little behind him, he able to pull it in. And Dooku puts it on the floor, has it knocked away, but illegally so. That is going to be on Ward Hibbett.
He does a good job there just to attack the defense and make them foul, because there was not a whole lot else going on there. Charles Thompson didn't have position inside, and there wasn't a whole lot of movement on that offense, which is rare for Leicester Riders. So Victor Nduku is able to dribble there and attack that space in the middle.
Well, a month or two ago, if you'd said Victor Nduku was going to get 7+ minutes in the first half of a playoff final, it would have seemed unlikely, but he's certainly taken the opportunity that's been given to him.
And credit to him as well. It can be very difficult sometimes as a young British player to be able to assert yourself. I mean, we've seen some formidable developments this year, Victor Nduku and Nedas Cholovenskis, and we've had some really good contributions from British young players this season.
Well, he's on the board with his first 2 points. Here's Ward Hibbett to Pulliam. Pulliam steps underneath, beautiful.
He is so controlled. When he gets it right, he really gets it right, and that's 5 points now for him on the board.
Charles Thompson.
Jackson. Johnson goes all the way to the rim and lays it in.
Well, another big piece of Leicester Riders' late season success is Spencer Johnson, who's been excellent in the latter stages of this season. You can see his confidence grown after taking 2 years out from playing professional basketball. He has been and had some big games for the Leicester Riders team.
Oh, Knight is open, and Knight hits the 3.
Seneca Knight, such a dangerous weapon offensively.
Hunter out to Nduku. He was out of bounds.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and you can just see he was quite far back when he caught that basketball.
It's a good pass from Long to see how open Knight was on the opposite side of the floor. Ward Hibbett. Pulliam just bobbled it. Pulliam with the mid-range. There's few better in the league at that.
No, he's excellent at that. I love his control and his composure, and just like that, he's up to 7, and Newcastle Eagles will win 6.
Yeah, 45-39. Leicester almost turned it over, and Long had to gamble for that. That's going to be number 2 on Long. So for Newcastle, James, Pulliam, Okoro and Long all on 2 fouls.
Oh, and that's hurt as well, Dan. You're making a run to get back in the game. It's a bad one just because he's fouled so far away from the basket as well. And Cole Long is going to be one of those individuals as well that they're going to need to have interior resistance here to mitigate Leicester Riders' size advantage.
Two of 2 from 2, 2 of 2 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line for Jalen Hunter. 13 points without a miss.
Well, he is the difference maker, and this is a rookie point guard as well. Ohio University, first year as a pro, and we've seen him have an incredibly solid season. But the question was, can he come up big in those big time moments? And boy, has he done that in the second half of this season for this Leicester Riders team.
And he's got his first miss of the game, and Newcastle come away with it. Okoro off the mark, rebound Johnson.
Spencer Johnson with the rebound for the Raiders. Hands over to Jalen Hunter.
Oh, Jackson had space, takes to the mid-range, and that's virtually automatic for Zach Jackson.
Well, what I think is most impressive of all Zach Jackson is he doesn't ever need to force the issue. He's very patient. He waits for the game to come to him. He has 6 points personally now, and he's such a natural scorer of the ball.
Jackson, Knight off the mark for 3, Jackson. This is his 3rd playoff final, played twice. Winning, oh, nice pass. Thompson can't force it home, gets his own rebound, and again he's denied. This time it was Long, I think, with the block. Okoro pushing, and he throws it in.
How Newcastle Eagles have prevented Charles Thompson from scoring there is beyond me, and they've got the reward by pushing the basketball down the other end of the floor. Back to 7.
Thompson wasn't quite expecting that. Jackson set back for 3. Doesn't go. Thompson again on the offensive glass, and this time he makes no mistake.
Those are the ones that are really hard when you're undersized.
Super's going to get a technical. He's walked onto the called a timeout, and he walked onto court arguing with the referee, and he had got a warning a little earlier, and he's still going. Basically what happened was he called a timeout, and obviously you sort of walk on court as you do that, but he was arguing with the referee, and he obviously had that long discussion earlier where he got a warning, and he's been given a technical, so Leicester will get a free throw out of this timeout.
Well, I want to know what the argument was about. What does Coach Stuttle think he's...
I assume he felt there was a foul on the rebound. Well, Darius Defoe giving the old death stare there, wasn't he? Newcastle potentially will be down 10 before they get the ball back if Leicester can make a free throw. But the worrying thing for them is Leicester have got 50 on the board before half-time.
Yeah, a really high-scoring game. It's quite free-flowing, which ordinarily you don't see in finals, just because everyone's a little bit tighter. They're in new environments, but Leicester Riders look very comfortable shooting the basketball. They're getting good looks, but as you say, Dan, Newcastle Eagles have to figure out a way to mitigate the production, but it's not come easy for them on the defensive end. The fouls are racking up for Newcastle Eagles as well, so they've got players that are playing defense tentatively because they're worried about picking up a 3rd foul.
Well, you said it's usually low scoring in finals, and I instantly went back to that Wembley playoff final between Leicester and Newcastle. Trying to remember what the score is. 68-57.
2014?
2013.
13, yep.
Jackson at the free throw line. He converts it. So Leicester do lead by 10 after that technical foul. Well, the interesting thing is Leicester, obviously Abercrombie got 2 fouls early, but because Nduko has done well, they've been able to leave him on the bench. So it's Newcastle who've got what amounts to foul trouble. It's just the volume of players on 2, really. Okoro. James trying to use his size. Backs down. There's a foul on the shot. Is it Johnson or Thompson? 32 is the number, so that is Thompson, his first.
Oh, Christian James has been so good at that. I think he's the mismatch, you put a guard on him, he can shoot over them from the perimeter and inside as well. Again, he's strong enough and athletic enough to do some real damage. I think a lot of European teams struggle to guard him as well in the ENBL. Of course, Newcastle Eagles making it all the way to the finals, to the ENBL European competition. And Christian James had some big games in that.
This is their 3rd final of the season. Obviously, they won in January in Birmingham in the trophy. They lost the ENBL final. And now here in the playoff final. And anytime you get into the 60s in games played, it's been a long slog.
It has. But I think that's also worked in their favour. You could argue that it's not worked well for them, physically with the injuries that they've had. But this is a a tight together group, and I can't help but think that's helped. All those miles they've had to travel together, and they've had to bond, and this is a very together team.
Leicester trying to tick down and get one last score before the half. Jackson drives in under pressure, gets it to go right on the buzzer. Basket is good, and Leicester will take a double-figure lead into the locker rooms.
Such a big play there from Zach Jackson, and it just takes me back reminiscing to the end of the semi-final against Sheffield Sharks, where he makes an incredible play at the end of game 1, and he does it again at the end of this half, just to extend that lead, because you never know, Dan, you never know when you might need that lead.
Let's get some reaction. Jalen Hunter is with Bob.
Jalen, your first taste of the O2, how's it going for you so far?
It's fun, definitely big arena, but there's 20 more minutes left. We still got work to do.
Real important buzzer beater right there. You're just keeping a bit of distance right now.
Yeah, our offense has been pretty good. A little bit worse in the second quarter, but defensively we got to be ready. Be better. They're getting way too many offensive rebounds and drives to the basket.
Okay, what are you going to work on in the second to keep it going?
Just more communication on defense. It's one mistake that's getting them points, so just clean up these little mistakes on these possessions will be hard.
Have a good second half.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The offense certainly has been working for Leicester. 28 points in the first quarter, another 25 in the second, but Newcastle did win that period. The issue is that Leicester are still shooting in the high 50s from the floor. They haven't really gone to the three-point shot because they've been able to get high percentage shots inside.
No, they've got the inside-outside, you're right, Dan, but I think it's one of those ones where it's a controlled offense for the Leicester Riders. They've been getting some really good looks, which I think has frustrated the Newcastle Eagles defense. And when you look defensively against Newcastle Eagles as well, they're probably more accustomed or set up, especially to challenge perimeter shots, because London Lions really struggled against them in the semi-finals, and even Manchester did as well in the quarterfinals. Newcastle Eagles did a really good job of defending that perimeter.
Well, it's an 11-point lead at the half. Let's right back over to Azania and Drew.
Thanks for that, Dan. What a half, Z, for the Leicester Riders. 53 points at the half. Everything clicking inside, outside. Wow.
Incredible, especially in that first quarter. 28-16, that's way too many to score. Newcastle have to slow that down. They did a much better job in that second quarter, but the Riders came out with a really lovely energy. I think Dan, bantered about it. The flexing, the showing you're too short, I'm too strong. They really came out and punched Newcastle, but Newcastle did a good job just to stick around. That 11-point mark into half is okay.
Well, speaking about the flexing, it was Thompson that's showing it too small, and then Hunter pointing to the crowd. We talked about the rookies, but they look like they're ready for this moment.
Do you know what? The rookies aren't looking like rookies at all. They're showing they're grown men. For me, he came out with 8 points in that first quarter. He hit that buzzer beater. He's, stepped up to the occasion for sure.
Well, we know the Newcastle Eagles, anything about them, they do not go out with a fight. But what needs to change? What adjustments do you see them coming in the second half?
Well, I think they need to box out. They're losing the rebounding game 21-17, especially with Defensive Player of the Year Thompson. He's doing a great job protecting the rim. I think, I don't think they need to panic. There's still 20 minutes of basketball, but the Riders, I've really liked how multiple guys have stepped up.
Well, we will take a short break before we return to the action. But before that, let's hear how Biffa is working with the SLB and his clubs to create new opportunities for the next generation of basketball stars with their new junior tournament. The Biffa Slam Dunk, a new and exciting 3-on-3 format that will be running throughout next season, culminating with a fantastic once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the top junior teams to play in a 2026 playoff final.
So Biffa, what they're trying to do is spread the wealth and spread the knowledge of basketball around. It's a great outlet for the kids, and it's a great sport for everybody to be involved with.
Wow. I'm really excited about this partnership because I think it's going to open a lot more doors for young people who want to play basketball.
I love most that it's a team sport.
I really like shooting, and you make like a load of friends in the academy.
Enjoy it with friends so I can create bonds and they can last a lifetime. I recycle anything I can recycle.
Plastic bottles and cardboard.
Cardboard, plastic bottles, tin can.
Clothes, shoes, plastic bottles.
It's just everything.
Instead of throwing your water bottle away in the trash can and throwing this away in the trash can, you're doing it in the right place. You're composting, you're recycling, you're reducing, reusing. And it's just super important to learn that from a young age because you carry that into your adult life.
I look forward to seeing how they can bring more opportunities for young women who want to play the sport and any young player who wants to play.
A new dawn has risen in British hoops as Super League basketball has taken centre stage. But this is about more than basketball. This is where legends rise and rivalries are written. Every game is a battle, every moment is electric, and every fan is a part of the journey. It's time to stand tall as the future unfolds and Super League basketball gets set to be bigger and better than anything we've seen before. New season, new stories, new champions to be crowned. From the opening tip to the final buzzer, every second counts. Every shot matters. Nothing is given, everything is earned. So who will rise, who will dominate, and who will make history?
We are Virtue. We have over many years built a nationwide network of local dealerships with a choice of amazing cars from the world's leading manufacturers, all cared for by our highly skilled technicians. For customers who continue to praise us to friends and family alike. Because we are Virtue.
The ability to get the pass and then find his feeding inside and finish was phenomenal.
Beautiful spin, but get that out of here, says Cole Long.
Here's McGill. McGill drives. McGill is blocked by Wright. Fresh into the game. He says, don't worry about Thompson. I'll block the shot.
It's McGill for another two. It's phenomenal what he's doing tonight.
Now you see me, now you don't. The cross and the lay. Big finish from Ricky McGill.
Ball taken away. Newcastle, nice. Dunking. 2 more points for the Eagles.
They go inside. Hazabegovic didn't realize he was wide open, and here comes Will Neighbor. Coach on top of Ward Hibbert to get the party started.
What a finish. Defense leading to offense there early for the Lions.
Jackson drops it off to Thompson, yet another jam.
Wow, Charles Thompson, 10 points already.
Peterson, Ward Hibbert, defensive team of the year, on the steal, strips around and is blocked by Adebayo.
What an effort there.
Well, here's Holloway, rims out. Pulliam steps around, behind the back pass. Seneca Knight slams it through. Big time play.
What a lovely play. I haven't seen Trey Pulliam smiling like that since he touched down to Newcastle, but he's having fun, and the Eagles are up 12 here early.
Wow.
A new dawn rises, where champions emerge and redefine the game, where limits are tested and greatness is unleashed. This is when legends are born. Super League Basketball. A new dawn is here.
Welcome back inside to the London O2 Arena, where the Leicester Riders have the 53-42 lead over the Newcastle Eagles. Before we focus on the half, let's focus on Award Z, Coach of the Year. Coach Bozich really proved that he can coach two different type of rosters.
Yeah, you know, he's done a really lovely job. I have a great relationship with Bozich at London Lions, as you know, I was playing there. I feel like they had a really tough season. They didn't win trophy, didn't win cup. They won the regular season. I thought they did a good job, at, you know, managing minutes, managing players. And congratulations to him. I think he's a great guy, really humble and, you know, calm. But then when you need to, and he'll step up and, you know, shout at you. And I think he got them guys in a lovely place. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, I thought he did a wonderful job with that roster this season. And ultimately, one of his players ended up getting MVP. Aaron Wright, what a story. Division I 2 years ago, MVP, goes to Cheshire, finishes Team of the Year, and now he gets the big ball.
You know, he had my vote all season. I feel like not only you know what you're going to get from him offensively, but defensively. He plays both ends of the floor. And then the other thing is he's consistent. He's going to come in, and that's what you want from your MVP. I feel like also he just was confident, and he just got better and better, but it started on the defensive end.
Yeah, we came down to him and Michael Carroll for me, but when I dug in the numbers, it was Aaron Wright all day long. But let's focus back on the game, and one guy who has been really flexing his muscles in that first half, Charles Thompson.
Yeah, he's done such a good job. Obviously, Defensive Player of the Year. And the reason why is because he averages 2 blocks a game. So he's got one of those, but he's got 10 points. He's 5 from 9 from the floor, but also 8 rebounds. That's massive. Second chance points are going to be big also. But here, I love it. He's flexing the muscles. He's really into this game, doing a lovely job. Nice touch around the basket also.
Well, the problem is for Newcastle, Darius Defoe and Dale Pesha out. They're the muscle. But then also, when he goes and get a break, here comes Duke Shelton.
Yeah, and Duke Shelton, for me, has just been playing tough. You know, that's what you want from Shelton. You know, he also loves the moments. He loves these times. And that's what you want, the 1-2 punch of you don't drop off. When he goes out, sometimes you sub in and you still keep that energy high.
Well, if you've been following the Newcastle Eagles all season, never count them out. 53-42. Let's head back to commentary. Ant Rowe and Dan Rowledge.
Thank you very much, Drew. Yes, indeed, this Newcastle team has shown some grit over the course of the last 8 or 9 months, and they'll need some more here today to turn it around. These two coaches have met 16 times in their embryonic rivalry. Rob Paternoster leading the way with 10 wins, and Mark Stugel has 5. Of course, they had that draw earlier in the season but it's been very even this year. You can see it's 3-2 and 1 draw along the way. There's been some great games between these sides this season.
Yeah, there's no coincidence. I think both of these two coaches are excellent with the X's and O's. They're excellent with the strategy, but I think they're leaders of men. I think they're coaches that are inspirational to a group. I think a group are willing to follow them, and I think they're two great leaders. So there's no coincidence why we've got these two teams in the final. Arguably, two of the best coaches here on display, and they're going at it. And so far, Dan, Rob Paternoster has that 11-point advantage.
Well, 20 minutes remaining in the season as Leicester and Newcastle vie for the final trophy.
Right, this game is underway. It's Jalen Hunter.
Here's Hunter.
Into Riley Abercrombie. Hands over to Johnson. Into Jackson. Here's Charles Thompson.
Here's Thompson backing down.
Thompson on the spin.
That one somehow comes out, but Abercrombie's on the glass and he forces it home.
And Riley Abercrombie getting a big putback there. And that's his size there coming into play down low.
Trey Pulliam. Into Cole Long. Joshua Hibbert will take over.
Here's Ward Hibbert.
Still Ward Hibbert.
Over to Okoro, drives past his man, drops it off to Long. Long is challenged. What a great... Oh no, it's a foul. I thought Thompson had done a great job at first, but there was a foul against the Leicester number 32, his second.
Yeah, there's a lot of contact there, I felt, but Charles Thompson did look to go straight up. So as you say, I thought Leicester Riders were out to the races there, having secured that basketball. But again, it's Cole Long moving really well without the basketball. Michael Caro gets that drive on the baseline, which gets the defense to suck in. And I think that's one thing as well about Charles Thompson. You saw him basically prevent Michael Caro from scoring the ball, but also he reacts so quickly. It's a matter of milliseconds and he's challenging the next shot.
The lights go out pretty quick when Thompson is patrolling the paint. Well, he got a friendly bounce on the first one, Long, but not so much on the second.
I think it's one of those ones, if players had the votes for the player of the year, I think Charles Thompson's name has still been up there for defensive player of the year.
Thompson spinning baseline. They've crowded him out of it, and he's turned it over. Here's Okoro, drops it off to Pulliam. Pulliam, did he step on the line? He did. Turnover.
Riders have done so well there. Transition defense. Not only did they prevent Newcastle Eagles scoring an easy basket, but they've got them to turn the ball over here, and these are those little plays as well. Newcastle Eagles are going to have to start capitalizing now when they get these opportunities, just because they're chasing the game.
Zach Jackson takes over. It's a Jalen
Hunter kicks out to Johnson for three, knocks it down. Spencer Johnson's first three of the game.
And that's such a Leicester Riders offense. You see Jalen Hunter with the ball in his hands, orchestrating the offense there. He gets into the heart of that defense and then finds his shooter in the corner.
Well, Jackson got out of the way, which kind of put Okoro off.
Here's Zach Jackson.
Abercrombie now looking for three. He got pushed over by Will Neighbour on the shot. That is a clumsy foul by Neighbour.
Well, especially as Neighbour's usually the one shooting the threes. I just think Neighbour just couldn't stop himself. Maybe he came out to close out the shooter and just couldn't stop his momentum.
Riley Abercrombie on the line.
Well, Riley Abercrombie has only missed one shot today. It was his only free throw. Everything from the floor has gone in.
Oh, he's at 82% free throw shooter for the season.
2 for 2.
And again, he's been the option, isn't he, for Leicester Riders throughout the season. Averages 13 points a game. We've seen him be able to get hot really quickly and be able to change games just because of his prolific scoring.
Well, he's now given Leicester their biggest lead of the contest at 17. His neighbour looking for three, off the mark. Scary moments for Newcastle here. They need to find a response. Jackson out to Johnson. Back to Jackson. He lets the three fly, and that goes, and Leicester are up 20.
Wow, just like that. If Will Neighbour hits the three, he cuts it to 14, but he doesn't. And it's a 6-point swing because Zach Jackson knocks it down the other end of the floor.
Well, a 10-1 start has forced a timeout. Leicester with a couple of threes, trying to land the knockout blow here at the start of the second quarter. I mean, it's obvious they need to score, but what do the Eagles need to do in order to get that scoreboard ticking here in the second half?
Well, you would think as well, coming out of the third quarter, their defense would have turned up a little bit. They need to make Leicester Riders uncomfortable, try and get them to generate turnovers, and what that does is it ignites your offense on the other end of the floor. Because at this moment in time, Newcastle Eagles, they look like they're still in the locker room at half-time. They haven't really came out with a fire in their bellies that they're down by double digits like they were at half-time. So for me personally, Dan, they conceded 52 points at half-time. They need to figure out a way to make Leicester Riders uncomfortable and get stops.
And you've been in that huddle with Rob Paternostro in situations where you have a big lead in a final. What is the message he's giving to his team?
Well, the message usually from Rob Paternostro is one of perfectionism. He wants perfection, and he's usually quite paranoid. He doesn't like being up either. I'm not saying he would rather be down by 20, but he really struggles, I think, with his team falling into complacency. So he would be equally as stressed as this be a tied game.
Well, Newcastle need a response here. Yet to score a field goal in the second half. Pulliam out to Long. Long creates some room at the free throw line, and there is the first field goal.
It's a good response there from Newcastle Eagles. Now, what else can they do now to chip into this lead? And that's what they can do, steal the ball away. Long will run it back. Long all the way, misses the layup, and the tip doesn't go. Okoro has it still won't go. Somehow Newcastle come up blank. Goodness me, two amazing opportunities there, which they created themselves from getting Leicester Riders to turn the ball over, but goodness me, how they didn't get anything from that.
Abercrombie again, another three for Riley Abercrombie.
Absolute backbreaker. The missed layups at the other end, and then Riley Abercrombie popping up again. 14 points personal now for him.
Pulliam, there's not too many guards can get past. Oh, that's knocked away. There's a ball warning there because the Newcastle player batted the ball out of Abercrombie's hands there. Rob Paternostro is just getting clarification on that because I don't know whether that's a warning or a technical. So there's the great score, but you can see Pulliam just pokes it away from him. You can't do that.
That was very sneaky. Yeah, it's hard to get away with that one with 14,500 people in this building.
Well, Rob Paternostro is still wondering why he's not got more punishment than Leicester inbounding the ball. Here's Hunter. Hunter out to Jackson. 5 on the shot clock for Jackson. Off the mark, but off the mark because he was fouled. So it'll be 2 free throws as Josh Ward-Hibbert is called for his second personal foul.
Well, that's a good spot there for Zach Jackson in the mid-post. He's a player as well, it's very useful in there. 6'5", 6'6" frame. Good patience as well to get a good shot.
So now everybody who's played for Newcastle, apart from Seneca Knight, has 2 fouls. Knight has none. Oh, yeah. Thought I was wrong for a second, but I am right. It is that. And Leicester stretched to 21. Here's Long. Into James. And his size has been a problem down there.
It has. He's so useful. I think look further. I mean, they're chasing the games. Of course, you want to knock down those open threes when you can get the opportunity, but they also need to consistently score and figure out a way to, again, to reduce this Leicester Riders offense.
Jackson is fouled by James, and that will be 2 more free throws, and James moves to 3.
Zach Jackson just been that consistent figure this year, leads the way in scoring for his team, just under 18 points per game, and he's a player as well that will understand the jeopardy, and he's having won top-flight British basketball competitions with the Leicester Riders previously. He's reached finals, he's won, he's lost, but I think more importantly, he came back here to the Leicester Riders, and he's a superstar. Just credit to him, and of course was in the running for MVP of the league. You saw his numbers of votes just coming up short against Aaron Rye.
Well, he won the league, the playoffs and the cup with Leicester in his first spell. He's trying to add the playoffs here in his second. Nice pass, and James lays it in.
Christian James is, I think, a good option at the moment. See if they can get him to score some.
Pulliam steals it away from Wright. Pulliam running it back. He draws the foul from Wright and 1.
And that's what you need. Defense creates offense, and Newcastle Eagles haven't been good enough defensively so far, but can they turn that tide? Trey Pulliam, individual, brilliant on the defensive end there.
Well, with Washington injured, Wright has played a lot of the backup point guard minutes, and Pulliam taking advantage of that, should we say.
Pulliam likes playing defense as well. You can see only criticism is sometimes he can get himself in foul trouble, but he's got good feet, good length as well, and this opportunity again from the free throw line for Newcastle Eagles, who are 5 for 10.
Both teams have missed 5 free throws, and Leicester have got some more. Nice pass. Oh, Thompson somehow blows the layup.
Good resistance from Seneca Knight. I think he's done excellent there.
Nice pass. Jackson will lay it in.
Wow. Moving him up the basketball. Not too many players better at that than Zach Jackson in this league.
Pulliam. Well, those normally drop for Trey Pulliam, but not this time. Abercrombie gets a hand on the pass. Knight in the corner, shot clock at 6. Knight to the turnaround. I think Thompson got a little piece of that. He certainly fell short.
He did. He's a rim protector. You can see him just gobbling up all that space in daylight, as you say, down in the key. No room.
Leicester's all-time shot block leader for a single season. Abercrombie closed out by Knight. Knight trying to go to work on Wright. There's no way through, but he feels the contact, gets the shot away, and he'll shoot 2. Foul number 3 on Ethan Wright.
Joshua Piven coming out for the Eagles, Micah Corey. Back onto Corey. Zach Jackson out for the Riders, Jalen Hunter.
Okoro and his coach having discussions about what to do next. Hunter has returned for Leicester, with Jackson sitting down.
This one is good from Knight.
Knight, who was 0 for 2 on his first trip from the free throw line, makes his first foul shot of the game. The second one goes as well. But they need to get some stops, Newcastle. That's the problem. Giving up way too many points. They've given up 19 in this quarter already. There's still 3.5 minutes to play. It's down into Thompson again. Nice cut again from Johnson off the glass. He moves as well off the ball as anybody in the league.
They just look like a team who've played together for years. And that's what the consistency of this roster has given them. Look at that movement with the basketball. It's Charles Thompson passing from the midway post. Good play.
Trying to push it back to 20.
Spencer Johnson with the and one.
Pulliam with a quick first step, but throws it out to James. Flush off the three-point line. Round it comes to Pulliam. Pulliam, a little hesitation. Beautiful little feint. That's going to be a delay of game with him batting the ball away. And it's going to be a technical on Pulliam. I think the one where they batted it away earlier was the warning. So he's, if you watch, he gets to the rim. It's a beautiful play. Gets to the rim, but then what he does is he catches the ball and throws it to the referee. You're not allowed to do that. You have to leave, as the offensive team, you have to leave the ball alone. And to be fair, it was him that poked it away for the warning, so he probably deserves it.
Yeah. Well, you just hope it doesn't disrupt here. Pulliam, because he's been, you can see he's the one leading the charge here for a comeback. It hasn't happened yet. Certainly not a run long enough to cause the Leicester Riders any major stress or concern, but you can just see Trey Pulliam is that one that's trying to ignite something here.
Hunter, great pass out to Johnson. Rebound for Thompson. Hunter's going to let it fly. Jalen Hunter splashes his third triple of the game. He is yet to miss from the floor. He's got 16 points.
And he's just controlling everything. He initially looked to get his teammate an open three. With Johnson misses, it winds back up to him, and he makes no mistake.
Broken up by Johnson. Away come Leicester. Right. He's going to back out for three. Doesn't go. And Newcastle get the defensive rebound. They have numbers as well here. Long, lays it in.
Good break there from Newcastle Eagles, and that's a prime example. If they can get stops and secure the rebound, they can get easy baskets. They just haven't got enough stops here today. 79 points on the board here, and there's still 2 minutes to play in the third quarter.
Leicester have scored at least 25 points in every quarter. And here is Thompson adding it. Another two. It's up to 28 in this quarter. Jalen Hunter is waving at the Riders fans to make the noise, and they respond behind their bench. A big sea of red of Leicester fans, and they are in jubilant mood right now because their team is in total command.
They really are, Dan. You can see complete contrast. I'm looking out now at the Leicester fans and the Newcastle Eagle fans, and it's a night and day. And they're the team so far that are in pole position to lift this Super League basketball playoff final. But how many times have we written off Newcastle Eagles? Can they make one more push, one more charge to create some type of tension in their counterparts?
Well, the charge needs to come soon from Newcastle just to give them the belief, because they need 2 or 3 runs to get this all the way back. They've got to really make some inroads now, but it is at the defensive end that they're going to have to do it. But those Riders fans, as I say, all in their red, have had a very enjoyable afternoon to this point. Not so much from Mark Stoutel and the Newcastle Eagles.
We're turning it all we've come as well. Have we got time for one more? No, we don't. Thank you, guys.
Back underway. Newcastle with the ball.
Trey Pulliam for the Newcastle Eagles.
Pulliam.
Christian James.
James fires up the three. Long rebound comes to Knight. Knight finds his way to the basket for 2.
Excellent rebounder of the basketball, Seneca Knight. He just has a natural nose for the ball, and him being as big and athletic as he is also helps, but nice play there from him.
Well, he's the best rebounder on Newcastle's team. Wright with a quick first step gets all the way to the rim.
Defensively, just so poor inside, and that's where as well I would say, you know, Darius Defoe would help, but then again, Newcastle Eagles have got here. They've got this far to beat in London and Manchester without those key pieces. But maybe today was just too big of an ask.
Foul number 4 on Ethan Wright there. Zach Jackson's going to come in presumably for Wright, having just scored. He trudges off now to the bench. Lobbed into Knight, that's a hell ball. Possession arrow keeps it with Newcastle. Oh, they've lost Pulliam for a second, and that's all it takes. Johnson's hit the deck. He's not happy about something. Hunter under pressure gets it down to Thompson, drops it off to Johnson, tries to tip it in himself. Thompson puts it back. Still Leicester have got it, and it double deflects out off of Coro for a Leicester ball.
Goodness me, red jerseys everywhere. Newcastle Eagles just really struggling to manage that battle of the boards at the moment.
Well, Leicester have shot the ball really well, and they still have a healthy number of offensive rebounds. Jackson, that one's off the mark. Knight is out in front, the pass is a bit in front of him. Newcastle have it, the shot clock is off if they want to take their time, but they don't, and they probably should have. Hunter trying to buy a foul from Okoro. Hunter for 3, back iron, another rebound. Jackson, did he get it away? No, he didn't, it didn't go anyway. Well, another quarter where Leicester have put a monster number on the board. It's 30 points they scored in that quarter, and they lead by 20 as a result of it with 10 minutes to play.
Yeah, I felt like Leicester Riders were the team that punched first, coming out of the half-time break, and it didn't really look like any major resistance there from Newcastle. The effort's there, but perhaps not the execution. I think too many easy baskets were given to Leicester Riders as well, and Dan, that was the highest scoring points quarter they had, 30.
Yeah. Consistent from Leicester, 54% from the floor, 54 from 2, 54 from 3, and that'll win you a lot of games.
They could even afford to have got that 54% from the free throw line just to keep everything nice and neat. But no, unbelievable. And I think the game plan so far, the first 3 quarters of this game has been faultless. You know, they went inside early, they've got high percentage shots. Their point guard, Jalen Hunter, has been excellent at orchestrating this offense. And what that's done is it's led to high quality looks from beyond the perimeter and mid-range as well. Leicester Riders just getting good look after good look from the floor.
Well, their leading scorers are shooting sensationally. Their 3-point shooting percentage is excellent. And there have been occasions this season, as Drew Lasker will remind us, where Leicester in a big game haven't shot the 3 very well, but they certainly have through 3 quarters here today.
I thought that was a key area of this game for Newcastle Eagles. I think they did an excellent job at making London Lions uncomfortable. They shot, pretty poorly from game 1 and game 2. Manchester as well did not shoot well in that quarter final of the playoffs. But Newcastle Eagles just haven't been able to disrupt Leicester Riders from beyond the arc so far in this game.
10 minutes for the championship then. Leicester with a big lead, a 20-point advantage, and Okoro has just picked up his 4th personal foul on the first play.
Just a bizarre place to pick it up as well. I get that you're trying to increase urgency and increase the aggressive nature, but that's not the time or place to pick up a foul.
Johnson for three. Well, a rare miss. They dropped to 50% from three-point range. Here's James. His three doesn't go. And Newcastle are in the low 20s from behind the arc.
4 for 17, Dan. Ouch.
Hunter rattled in and out. Shelton keeps it alive. Abercrombie, can he keep it in? Yes, he can. Here's Johnson. Gets it to Shelton, who rocks the rim.
Great work there to keep the ball alive, and it's Spencer Johnson whose penetration gets the defense to commit to him, which allows his teammate Duke Shelton for an easy dunk.
Pulliam can't shake loose Hunter. Knight open for three, another missed triple. Well, that is really a tale of the tape, isn't it? All those missed threes, 14 of them for Newcastle. Abercrombie puts it on the floor instead. He, well, somehow got it in.
It looked like he was trying to dunk it, but the elevation wasn't quite there, but he was able to flip it in there. Nice finish there from Ronnie Abercrombie.
Pull him off the mark. And you feel that Newcastle, their race might be run. Hunter. Down low it goes to Shelton. He gets it to Jackson. Jackson through the contact, lays it in. I'm not sure how he was open.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, great defense initially by Seneca Knight, made things very difficult for Duke Shelton. But you need a team. Oh, Michael Carroll's fifth foul.
His game is done. He leaves the arena, well, not the arena, but he leaves the court with 8 points to his name, but 5 fouls. 4 of 11 for Mike Okoro. And at minus 29, he has the biggest deficit in the plus-minus as well. Not been his day.
No, it hasn't, and we've seen what he can do on the centre stage. I thought he was excellent in that trophy final in January, where he captured MVP. An unbelievable performance from him, but sometimes it's hard to replicate, and Leicester Riders did a good job as well to plan for that. They know that a lot would have had to have gone through Michael Carew today, and they took that away from him.
Well, Rob Paternostro, no lead would ever be big enough for him not to be coaching hard. Particularly with 7:41 to go. Well, Jackson's not happy about something, I'm not quite sure what. Well, there's a lot of discussion going on.
Glad it's just discussion, Dan, because
it's an they were lining up for free throws, and now it looks like it's an end-line ball.
Well, we talk about the rivalry throughout the whole of the years, but there's some short-term rivalry as well between these two clubs. You look at the last game of the season up in Newcastle. That one was nuts. It was
oh my goodness! Duke Shelton wipes out a block.
Goodness me!
Candy misses the three. They still have the ball though, Newcastle. James under pressure, lays it in.
Wow, no fear from Christian James there to go right back at the rim after seeing that acrobatic block from Duke Shelton.
Well, after that block, Shelton's decided he's going to play point guard as well.
Yeah, why not?
He's going to go it alone. Duke Shelton all on his own.
Wow, defense to offense, and it was all him.
Well, the former Newcastle man is enjoying this. I think that's fair to say. You've got highlights at both ends of the floor. Duke Shelton, absolutely. Well, I'm not sure if that might have been a goal turn watching it back.
I think it was.
It's in the book as a block.
There was a protest there from Christian James. You can see why. But nonetheless, it was Duke Shelton who decided to play offense himself and get it to go.
Well, in all the years of top-flight British basketball, only one team ever scored 100 in a playoff final. Guildford Heat in 2008, beating Milton Keynes by 12. Leicester could easily get past that. Hunter adds 3 more to the tally and takes the lead to 30.
Wow. Well, there is one man that has been unbelievable from the three-point line, and Jalen Hunter.
Well, Shelton's just got himself a technical. Rob Paternostro is absolutely livid. He's just saying, calm down, Duke. We're up 30. Don't give anything away. He's still agitated. Well, the other thing is, this margin, there's only one team ever won by 30 in a playoff final. That was Leicester against London City Royals in 2019. There's only been 3 results in the 20s. 2 of them were Leicester, and the other one was Kingston against Sunderland, which of course is the franchise that is now the Newcastle Eagles. But Rob Paternostro still pacing, still chewing, still worrying it could all go wrong here. Knight off the mark, rebound Thompson. Leicester in no rush, less than 6 minutes from glory. Jackson knocked away by Ward Hibbert, but he'd fouled him first, and that's going to be foul number 4 on Ward Hibbert.
Well, that's the thing, you know, Newcastle Eagles were walking that tightrope, weren't they, in the first half, with a number of players on 2 fouls. Some have successfully got to this point in the game, and others not so much, with Michael Carroll being fouled out of this game. I can't help but feel it's hurt the defensive mentality of this team. They've been really quite low resistance.
Back to 30. Jackson makes them both. Leicester 21 of 26 from the free throw line. Pulliam knocked away, and I think Hunter's reaction cost him the foul there, because the referee was a little patient, as Azania likes to say on that. Well, Hunter's reaction gave away the game that he fouled him.
Well, it's a little bit easier being honest when you're up by 30
yeah,
down.
It is.
Unbelievable dribbles, though. He's got one of the most exciting, excited, flashy game I've seen. You know, he
sort of rocks a lot, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's got that. You never quite know which way he's gonna go and at what speed. He always knows, though. Oh, good hands. Abercrombie knew which way he was going. Abercrombie will run it all the way back and lay it in for 2, and Mark Stuttel will call for time again as the Leicester Riders stretch their lead to 33.
Wow, great hands there. We were just discussing it. Trey Pulliam's dribble has been so effective this year. But Riley Abercrombie's obviously watched a lot of game tape because he guessed right on that occasion and was out to the races. Nice finish from him.
Well, 16-3. We talked about the quarters. Leicester 28 in the first, 25 in the second, 30 in the third, and then another 16 inside 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. It's just, they're at 99, as I said. There's only one team ever scored 100. You talked about it earlier, that playoff finals tend to be slightly lower scoring because everybody knows the scout. They've spent the whole week preparing for this, but Newcastle have not managed to stop Leicester any which way.
No, they haven't, and again, you can't help but feel that maybe they've just won those games against the odds too many times. You know, who would have predicted them to beat Manchester over 2 games? Not me. Who would have predicted them to beat London over 2 games? Not me. But Mark Stuttel and his team have found a way each time, and sometimes, Dan, it's just too big of an ask.
Well, it certainly feels like that with 5 minutes left of the season. Knight.
Trey Pulliam takes over.
Pulliam into Long.
Long steps one up, just short.
Well, again, that I think Thompson said, I got a little tip on that, just making sure the stat people know that. It certainly fell a long way short. Abercrombie denied by Ward Hibbert. Ward Hibbert running the floor. Oh, it's through the legs of Long. Gets it back. Jackson's on the floor, so Knight is wide open. He can't convert. Thompson with the rebound.
Yeah, it's just been one of those days. Seneca Knight and his team have had 14, good open looks.
14 rebounds, by the way, for Charles Thompson.
Goodness me.
7 of them at the offensive end. He's only just caught up with the defensive rebounds. Johnson for 3, off the mark. Look at that, 14 rebounds, 7 at either end. He's got 3 blocks as well, as is customary. It's a double-double for the rookie in a playoff final. No, foul on the floor. Knight has it for Newcastle.
Still Knight.
No way through. Leicester breaking away. Johnson running it back and knocked away by Pulliam, who didn't give up on the play.
No, you have to respect that. I think it's sometimes very easy just to throw in the towel and give up. I don't think Newcastle have done that. It's just, I think when the hope is taken away from you, naturally it's really difficult to stay locked in and stay motivated, but they've still continued to work. It's just that Leicester Riders just seem to be getting stronger and stronger as this game goes on.
Pushing the back from Trey Pulliam, his 4th personal foul. And they're over the limit. And Jalen Hunter will have a chance to bring up the century. Oh, there's a technical, is there? Who's that on? Was it Seneca Knight? Yeah. Seneca Knight, he's the only player not in foul trouble. That's his first. But he leaves the game anyway. So Hunter will get 3 chances from the free throw line instead of 2. No, you can't make three figures on the board with the first. They can line up for these, Newcastle. $100 up for Leicester in a playoff final. Rare.
Very rare indeed. And you need to have a pretty near perfect performance, and the guy on the line, Jalen Hunter, 20 points personal for him.
Second one doesn't drop. Here's Trey Collier.
Look at that stat. Starting 5 points, 83 to 45 in favor of Leicester. 83 from their starters. Wow, Pulliam knocks down a three.
That is a very, very impactful start. And you know, we've argued that too. Starting five, maybe Leicester Riders has got the best starting five in the league this year. But of course, you don't win leagues, championships on starting fives alone. Sorry.
Well, they came close.
They did.
Zach Jackson with an old school hook. Another rebound, 15th for Charles Thompson. Johnson up in the air, somehow gets it out. It's got to go up. Thompson got the shot away and nearly bobbled in.
He was willing that one in. Doesn't get the lucky bounce on that occasion.
Pulliam, top of the key.
Such a natural pull-up jump shot from him, and it's just a shame they couldn't get him in those positions a little bit earlier in this game.
20 points for him. He's the leading scorer for the Eagles. Johnson running the clock as long as he dare. Needs to get it away. Hunter beats the buzzer and he hits the triple. Jalen Hunter, 7 of 9 from the floor for 23 points.
Goodness me, and it was him that set the tone early, knocking down some threes. He's had a complete game here today.
Pulliam again at the top of the key. And there are less than 90 seconds separating Leicester from victory. For only the third time in top flight British basketball history, we're going to have 4 different winners of the 4 different competitions. Well, the Riders fans are on their feet, and they're on their feet because Connor Washington has just made his way to the subs bench. We haven't seen Connor Washington for weeks with an injury. Leicester are trying to commit a foul to get him in the game, and actually they're going to bring everybody in now. Wiley's coming in, Onye's coming in as well, but it was Washington. As soon as he stood up, the whole of the Leicester fans behind them stood up in excitement. His injury has robbed him of the last 6 weeks of the season, but he's gonna get a few seconds here at the end in a playoff final. And Connor Washington, their longest serving player, who's played more games for Leicester than anybody else, 14 seasons, looking for medal number 15 for Leicester. It'll be his 5th playoff win, and he'll be more than happy to be out on the court rather than just watching from the sideline.
Yeah, and it's great to see. You know, he's someone I played with as well, and he was a pivotal part in some of those victories that we had, and he's been plagued with injury this year, and unfortunately hasn't been able to feature as much as he would like. But it's great for him because he will know, you know, we've discussed and we talked about this rivalry over the years. He would have been part of that, you know, even more so modern day history, you know, after my time, and he's been a guy that's been involved in that. So this will be great for him to see. Again, Newcastle Eagles were always the gold standard.
Right, taking it to the rim.
Charles Thompson picks it up.
Newcastle get a stop. There have been far too few of those down the course of this game. They haven't even got to double figures here in the fourth quarter. They will do on that shot. And Charles Thompson is going to sit down and receive the acclaim from his coach and his fans, and the biggest grin on his face as he leaves the game. And Leicester, the shot clock is on, but they will basically milk it down. They are seconds away from a 7th playoff title. They will move level with Newcastle as the most successful team in top flight British basketball history in playoff action. Is Connor going to shoot? Is he going to take it from the logo? He is. Oh, nearly. That will do it. The Leicester Riders have won, and they will celebrate an absolutely dominant performance. They've taken Newcastle apart. They've won the playoff final by 31 points, and a season that at times promised much and at times felt like it wasn't quite going to be has got the best of endings for the Leicester Riders, the playoff champions.
Well, the bridesmaids are finally the brides, as you say, Dan. They came second to London Lions in the league. They were knocked out of the semi-final of the trophy, knocked out of the semi-final with a cup. But it's today is how they write their history. They're the playoff champions. Last game of the season, they finish on top.
Well, there is no better feeling than heading out into the summer on the back of a playoff success. And that is the moment they have. You can see Blake Bowman, whose knee injury really derailed it. He was playing well in the early season. It really shortened their bench. And he's out there on crutches, but he's there with his team to enjoy it.
What did you say, Dan? It hasn't been without adversity. They've lost some big games this year, but they've had the injury worries themselves as well. I mean, Connor Washington, we've seen him go onto the court. His experience is priceless, and they were without him today.
Let's get some reaction. Rob Paternoster is with Bob.
Rob, congratulations. I think I made that playoff victory number 6 for you in terms of the end of the season.
I guess, we've had great success down here. Felt good when I came out today, seeing all that red up there. Our fans were unbelievable. And our guys put on a performance for the ages today. To come in here and beat the team like that by 31, heck of a job. They prepared well, and they performed on the day.
Let's talk about your fans, about the noise. How much did that generate the excitement and indeed the value they gave from that game?
Well, I thought they gave us value in the second leg of the Sheffield as well. Don't forget that. They started with it there, and they carried us over the line today. I'm so proud of our organization. We had some ups and downs this year, but to finish on top, there's nothing better.
How did you come back from the abyss? Because against Sheffield, people have written you off.
Well, we got guys that believe. That's what it was. We walked out of that first leg, and we still believed. And then we got good players. That's how. We got good players that come up big in big games.
Because you never go through a season without not winning something, Rob, do you? You have to wait till the very last game, though.
Well, this is the best one to win, in my opinion. The summer is going to feel sweet. Great job. Hi, Mom. I love you. Can't wait to see you.
I need to ask you about the suit very quickly.
Yeah, my wife Sarah's the one that picked the suit. I didn't want to wear it. I thought it was a little too much, but she told me to wear it, and I went for it.
Good. You go and enjoy, all right? Let's bring Zach in. We talked before the game, you didn't want to talk it up too much, now you can. Yeah. How was that experience?
Hey man, it's amazing. To come in here and win by 30, we did what we needed to do, man. It feels good, it feels good.
That was so professional today, wasn't it? Every man on the team.
Yeah, I mean, we've been like that all year. Every time we took a big loss, we came right back. And it showed today with Sheffield in the semifinals. I think that propelled us to this win today.
Tell me about the atmosphere, tell me about your fans, what it was like to play on the court today.
Oh yeah, they was loud, and that's what got us here, honestly. That semifinal leg got us here, and they carried that on today, so.
And your plans for the summer, just to enjoy and get basketball out of the way for a while?
I'm finna go celebrate. I ain't doing nothing for a little while. I'm chilling, man.
Go and enjoy with the teammates.
Start now. Leicester Riders, for the 5th time in the last 8 seasons, are celebrating winning on this court here at the O2. They just seem to find a way, and they will enjoy the bus ride back to the East Midlands, all of those bedecked in red on the far side, and we can begin the presentation party. And well, Newcastle Eagles will receive their mementos. And we talked about it earlier. It's been a long, a grueling season. But you make 3 finals, you become the first British team to make a European final. That's some heck of a season.
Incredible, Dan, and I know it'll be painful now, but they've been derailed for injury as well. And you can say it's an excuse, but they were in pretty good shape, before injuries occurred. Again, they won the first piece of silverware this season. They were able to represent Great Britain in European play, and they did it in such a prideful manner as well. They were men down in that competition at the ENBL, and they still found a way to get themselves to the finals. Yes, league play was a little underwhelming for them this year, finishing 14 and 18, a losing record, but man, with the big games they stepped up. The players were able to play above the expectations of everyone, and of course here they are now, and they with giving themselves an opportunity to win the last game of the season.
And in the end, they just couldn't really get enough stops. That was the problem. 74 is in and around what you need to win a playoff final, but 105 against. Nobody's ever conceded that many in the top flight playoff final game. And, well, that is the story of it. And Mark Stoutel runs down the other end of the floor to shake the hands of everybody on the opposing team. A classy move.
Yeah, he's a classy coach, and I think that just to listen to the way he talks as well, there's a sincerity in the way, when we interview, he's such a genuine, I think, individual and a genuine coach. And I think big things to come from Mark Stoutel. The strides and the improvements he made this year, I think it's a worry for everyone in the SLP next year. I think he's going to come back even better. He's going to be contending again, I'm sure, next year.
And you've been here, you've worn that red on playoff final day out here, and you know what this is all about, and these are the moments that make a career.
They are, Dan, and they'll hold dear in my memories for a long time to come. And just speaking about this with Drew Lasker before, and Zania as well, she's won a bunch of championships. These are the things that you can't really ever replicate when you get done with a game. And just watching it, and I'm not saying you live through these players, but just knowing that what this could mean for them now and in their future lives, it's priceless. It's something that money can't buy.
And it is always the bond as well that ties these 12 men together, that 15, 20 years from now they will be remembered as this team, as a playoff champion team. The pictures they will pull out, the pictures that will hang on the walls in the Mattioli Arena will be the ones taken in the next few minutes, in the next few hours. And the fans will tell of the 2025 playoff champions, and Blake Bowman able to get his medal. And Rob Paternostro, 17 years of Riders head coach, just glory after glory for him.
It's unbelievable, and I think the admiration I have for him is his ability to come and do it every single year. Every single year he has that same hunger, that same thirst to bring more trophies back to the Leicester Riders. And there's rightfully so why he'll be now, well, he is one of the most winningest coaches ever on these shores.
Well, not an easy pick for MVP. Let's see who's going to claim it.
Finishing with 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shooting 83.3% from the three-point line, 5 of 6 beyond the arc, and 23 points from the Leicester Riders.
Well, the MVP is right in the center of your shot there. He looks surprised, but not many others are, because an epic performance from Jalen Hunter. 5 of 6 from behind the arc, 7 of 10 overall, 23 points, 4 assists as well. Great game. It was a hard-run battle for MVP, but a great performance.
It was. I really struggled with this one throughout the whole game, but I think it was him. He was the guy who set the tone. I think his intent was present at the start. He hit some big shots. I think he's always been someone who's going to get his teammates involved, but I thought he was the one that stepped up to the mark first. It was the battle of the point guards here today, and on today it was Jalen Hunter that was able to get the best out of his team.
Well, Connor Washington knows what to do here. The 5th time he's been part of a playoff winning team. Now he is the captain. The trophy is in his hands. And 2025 playoff champions are the Leicester Riders. Their fans celebrate. Connor holds the trophy aloft and shares it with his teammate. What a moment for each and every one of them as the flames rise high. And there's going to be some party tonight in Leicester.
Well, not to get overly emotional as well, but this will be the sort of things, it's the band of brothers. You know, whenever I see a former teammate who I've won this with, it's that you don't have to say anything. It's just that acknowledgement and that nod that you've been through the battle together. You've overcome it and you've conquered it. And this group of individuals there will have these memories now for life.
Well, on Friday, Rob Paternostro got his customary last practice photo that he loves of the group. He loves these ones even more, the ones with the shiny trophies and the medals.
Of course, but you don't get those shiny trophies and medals down without the behind-the-scenes practices, those practices in January and February when the sports was colder than outside, and those ones where not one camera's in sight. Those are the days that get you to this point, and he's had a lot of success with his team.
Well, the ticker tape starts to fly here at the O2. The Leicester Riders have won the playoffs. Let's send it back to the studio with Zania and Drew.
Thank you, Dan. What a moment for the Leicester Riders, and it never gets old, Z, watching those celebrations, specifically after a playoff final win.
Yeah, and they dominated from the get-go, you know, really comfortable, confident. These fans that have come out for Leicester Riders, congratulations to them who was on your screen. And you know, the confetti comes down. They were tremendous, really dominated the whole game.
Well, let's hear from the MVP as Bob is down courtside with Jalen Hunter.
Jalen, let's have a look at this. Your MVP ball, but you just said before we went live, crazy, crazy. Just give me your thoughts right now.
This team, man, it's been a long 9 months, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of tough losses, a lot of hard film sessions, and for it to come into this today, man, I'm just blessed. It's a blessing from God, for sure.
If I had said 105 points in a final, you wouldn't believe me, would you?
No, definitely not, definitely not. We had a game plan coming in. We knew a movement would do a lot for us. We just wanted to move when Charles had the ball, when I had the ball, when Zach had the ball. Just keep moving around. We were able to execute that.
As far as you're concerned, your playoff games have been fantastic. You really came to life at the playoffs, didn't you?
Yeah, man. It's just my teammates. I think there's a lot. We have a lot of weapons, and I think if you take one thing away, you can't take those other things away. So I knew that it was going to be tough for them to take everything away. So I just wanted to be there for my team, and it just went my way today for sure.
Okay, go and enjoy it. Your celebration. Have a great summer.
Thank you so much. Go Riders. Love y'all. Thank you.
Well, there's a lot of things that we can break down there, but in the end, Z, the Leicester Riders were just more consistent from start to finish.
Yeah, and Hunter, congratulations to him. 23 points with those 4 assists. But he was just, at one point, I don't think he missed, you know. And we talked about rookies and stepping up, and he played huge. He felt kind of, you know, came in and with a lot of confidence, and his team rode on that. And that's an amazing moment for him, especially when you're a rookie. You've never been here before, and he just showed up and showed out.
Well, he set the tone, and after that first three, Ant pointing his finger to the crowd was the foreshadowing of what was to come.
Yeah, I think that's that fearless mentality, isn't it, of the rookie that's now turned into a veteran pro overnight. And I think, Z, you're right. I think it's contagious. I think when you see the confidence in your point guard, especially as a former big, that did provide me with a boost as well. And I think just stepping up to the plate and wanting that responsibility, that was key here for this Leicester Riders victory.
And how much do you think that 10-point deficit, turning that around on Sunday, played a difference here?
Oh, huge. I think it does the world of good for your confidence as well. I think when you're someone who's came through a battle and you came up the other side, you do have that invincibility about you, and it does transition into the next game as well. And I think you can just tell that Leicester Riders were that more confidence outfit here today.
Yeah, and if we reflect on both teams, Newcastle, the lack of ball movement, do you think the movement from Leicester Riders kind of wore them down?
Well, he spoke about it, right? Hunter said that we wanted to move the ball, make sure, that's hard, right? Newcastle were down men, then Mike Okoro goes out with foul trouble, really struggled. I think that we spoke about him being the engine of that team. really disappointing. But for Hunter and for the Riders, having that momentum, making the defense have to shift is really the game. And winning that much is the reason why.
Yeah, you mentioned it on comms, and it's going to really sting for the Newcastle Eagles. But it was a great season, like you said, a title already in a trophy, EMBL final with a silver medal. Tough.
It is really tough, and it's hard to be able to shake it off now when you're them. But what they do have, you think next season is Mark Stoughton. You're unsure of the roster, but they have Mark Stoughton. He's got better every single year. Really difficult start for him at the start of his Eagles career, but I think he's a bona fide, legitimate, one of the best coaches now we have, a Team GB coach as well. So really excited to see now how he kicks on next season.
Well, what a season we have had in the SLB. Thank you both for your analysis today and all year long. You guys have done a fantastic job. Thank you to the fans tuning in to this great season, and make sure you take your rest. We come back, visit us next season, but until then, we say goodbye from the London O2 Arena.
Rises, where champions emerge and redefine the game, where limits are tested and greatness is unleashed. This is when legends are born. Super League Basketball, a new dawn is here.